This pole is not for vaulting. It's gonna be used to fix so many aspects of my golf swing, and it's gonna really be able to fix a lot of your faults in your game when you use this PVC with the plane swing trainer. You may have seen a lot of these around golf clubs, driving ranges, around the world really. And from what I hear from quite a few people is they've always wondered what it is and how it can help. Now, there is a bit of a misconception with the plane swing that it is only going to help you develop a one plane golf swing, because obviously what goes up on the roller is going to come back down on the circle, okay? With the glider, that's a one plane golf swing. And people mention or ask, am I one plane, two plane? Don't worry about that for now. There is a couple of very important things that we need to address when it comes to the plane and finding your ideal plane. Most people get that wrong. But it's also something that's really going to benefit that people don't realize is the swing sequence. The swing sequence is crucial to dynamic, powerful, and actually consistent golf swing. Especially the PVC pipe that we're going to get into is going to train your sequence without you really having to think about it. And that's the wonderful thing about this. It's not really a complicated lesson that I'm giving you today. It's just trying to show you how your body should and can move to support a very repeatable golf swing. First off, let's talk about plane and choosing your plane. This is something that we are going to go into a lot more detail in some future videos and some programs that we're going to be releasing. But in essence, there are three swing types, three swing planes, and it's really relative to certain aspects of your body, your anatomy, your limb length. Things like this have a very big effect on your golf swing, and most people don't realize. You can be trying to do certain things that are more geared towards a flatter golf swing when really you should be more steep. Your plane should be on a shoulder plane. And very basically, if I set up sort of in a pretty much a neutral position here, so my armpits are about level with the poles as we've got the circle here. That, as I swing back down, is what we would call a torso plane. This is what you'll generally see as the median, the baseline for most tour players. However, no matter how hard I try, for example, and actually how much I've tried in the past, to always sort of get in this slot, as it were, relatively shallow, but behind my body line, but keeping everything from my shoulders down to my hips, in that sort of range here. However, because my wingspan is longer than my height, by trying to keep it back here, okay, keep it on that plane, I am actually having to manipulate certain things, which, as we all know, and we've all experienced, sometimes we can do it, sometimes we can't. So I've had to learn a swing that is more geared to me, which is a shoulder plane, meaning that my downswing, as my arm gets to left arm parallel, is actually more towards my shoulder line here. So you can see from the top, I'm sort of dissecting my shoulder line around this place, and that's going up and back down. A hip plane, in this case, would be further this way, and that's more like a Sergio Garcia, because he's got shorter limbs compared to his height. That's a brief overview of all that stuff. But how do you find your ideal swing plane? A good place to start is with the plane swing trainer here. And if we look, we've got a few different numbers. This is very easy to adjust. So whether it's for you or family members or something, getting one of these to be available is very easy to use and store away. But what we're looking at is, you can see we've got 0 right now. That's sort of the baseline, the medium. If I was to bring it back down to, say, a -2 plane like that, I'll just keep it very basic. You can see now that that swing plane is a lot more rounded and flatter. And for me, that would be extremely difficult for me to repeat, because my arms would always want to be coming out over the top, all right? So for me, I at least have to be about a +2, okay? That might seem sort of steep to a lot of you, but it's actually the most natural and easiest way for me to move my body in a repetitive manner. And the swing is always going to calibrate itself better, more reliably when it's more natural. I'm not having to manipulate. And what we can do with the plain swing is to literally train that. So I can set myself up here with the glider. This is a weighted glider, so it's not rolling. I have to create a little bit of resistance here. But what I'm doing is making my backswing, and now that feels much more suitable to my swing plane. But I can always keep checking my setup position to make sure I'm not too far forward or too far back, because that's going to change the look of my swing plane. So we have to find our own baseline neutral, and this can help that tremendously. Now, let's get on to the sequence. One of the biggest swing flaws generally that I see in lessons, online, people I play with, especially as we get older, we tend to stop moving as well, or at least trying to move as well. And the golf swing requires some movement, but we often have this fear or this tendency to restrict ourselves. And a lot of times when people stand in the plain swing, when they try and make their the takeaway, start with their arms here, they often slide this way. And sliding this way means very little rotation, just picking the arms up, and then that's actually going to really cause a sort of over-the-top move because we've hung back here. What this does, without really thinking about it too much, and almost forgetting golf swing for a minute, to move the arms around myself, but allowing rotation and allow my backside to move and point towards here, just to allow those arms to glide up without restriction, and I'm not hitting it really hard. It's giving me that sequence, because I can't just go here, then slide. I can't just go here, then turn. By allowing movement, a natural movement, and getting out of my way, I can train a nice sequence. By having the objective to keep the glider on the roller, it allows me to develop that speed and that release without having to force anything. And that's what I really love about it. And it's taking a lot of the objective of fear of trying to hit the golf ball hard. It's about making your sequence nice and smooth and repetitive. We all want a repetitive golf swing. Now I'm going to show you how the PVC pipe can genuinely transform your game, perhaps quicker than anything else you've tried before. This PVC pipe is going to be your new best friend. Little note here. When I first started to use this, I got one that was actually too thin. I was trying to replicate a golf club, the grip size. Even though I use, jumbo grips, it was still a bit too big. But the problem is it had way too much flex on it, okay? And that was creating some droop as I was swinging along. So I had to go back and get a thicker one. So it is a bit thick, is a little bit heavy. You might be able to find lighter ones or smaller ones that are, more rigid, basically, because we don't want too much give on it, okay? So how is this going to help you? Well, when you create a PVC measurement that is a little bit bigger than this swing arc here, it's a little bit bigger. We've got a few inches at the top and a few inches at the bottom. But we always want to be about an inch or two off the bottom here and a few inches off the top. This is a little bit long because I've been working on something, but it's making it a little bit harder on the downswing. But what this is going to do, it's going to give me the most neutral way of swinging that I can naturally do. And without any manipulation. My only goal when I'm using this with the PVC pipe is to really focus on my setup to get that as repetitive as possible. Then I'm literally going to just move, that's the golf swing, move my body, but I'm going to move my body that creates the least amount of resistance and manipulation to keep the PVC on the circle all the way around. And I'm not trying to work on huge speed here. I'm just working on muscle memory and literally training. So how do I ensure what my setup is? Well, I'm trying to find the most easy for me setup to get into that feels really comfortable, that I'm balanced. I'm very square to the mat. My hips, my shoulders, as I take my setup, my grip, that's where I want to be. I'm not trying to say my feet go in a particular position and my hands have to go here. I'm forgetting golf for a minute. I'm just trying to get myself set up that feels strong, dynamic, repeatable, and that everything feels square, whatever that means to you. I'm making sure that my shoulders are square, like I'm a little bit too far ahead in this one. So I need to come back just a little bit, about there. So it's going to be underneath my arms, and then I'm going to hold it about here, and it's going to be about a 7-iron length, okay? Another major checkpoint I'm going to have is to feel that the PVC pipe is touching my side just under the lead arm, okay? I'm feeling very supported, connected, and stable. And my only objective now, as I make my swing, is to allow my body to adapt to keeping this PVC on the rails, okay? I can cheat, I can manipulate, I can lift my arms out, but the stick, the pipe comes off. I can try and whip it on in the inside, the pipe comes off. But if I just slowly to begin with, allow it to guide me, my body will respond accordingly to give me the perfect sequence, the perfect plane for me that requires no adaptation or manipulation. Doesn't mean I can't ever shallow, doesn't mean I can't approach the ball a bit more from the inside, but this is my foundational technique. I'm staying stable. I'm keeping this connected as I turn. I'm ensuring that if I only use my arms, I can't do it. If I slide, it's going to come off. It teaches you. That's the wonderful thing about either using the rollers, but especially the PVC with this. I don't really have to tell you much. Just by doing it, you will improve. And that's why it's been so successful for so many years to give people that swing that they want. And the more you rehearse, the better you'll get at it. Now, something I want to try and help you with here is keep in mind that it's stopping me from going back this way. It's stopping me from whipping the hands in. You need to be a little bit strict with yourself here and notice, and the sound is often a key. If I'm really pushing into it and I'm fighting it and it feels very difficult, it means I'm applying too much pressure that way. So we have to tweak our setup a little bit, but also, again, don't worry too much about how. Just make the task for yourself to be less friction, less resistance. Keep that, see, I came off a little bit there because I was trying to go a bit lighter. But the better you get at this, the better you'll be in every facet of your swing. You can do this for minutes a day. You'll transform your game, I promise you. And many years ago, Bryson DeChambeau and tons of players have used this to such great effect. And even myself, I've been using it for a few minutes every day. It folds away. It's easy to use, and it has been helping my confidence, my golf swing, so much more. And the beauty is, you can get a special discount just for being part of the Art of Simple Golf family. So check it out below. It's a lot more affordable than you probably think, but this is a wonderful addition to literally every single golfer I know. See you next time.